Yes. And the rank hypocrisy is most on display, I
Yes.
think, in connection with our next, the related story. Congress is also heatedly discussing the leaked SCOTUS draft opinion, and the same members of Congress who are, adamantly supporting the Domestic Terrorism Prevention Act of 2022, mostly Democrats, are also vehemently screeching against the possibility of Roe v. Wade being overturned. So the House Judiciary Committee, which is currently controlled by Democrats, held a hearing yesterday entitled "Revoking Your Rights: The Ongoing Crisis in Abortion Care Access." So again, they're already saying revoking your rights as if abortion is a right.
Mm-hmm.
So a few examples from this hearing: we have the chairman of the committee, Representative Gerald Nadler, who's like a lifetime Congress member. It's
Yes.
ridiculous. He said, quote, overturning Roe, in his opening remarks, overturning Roe would remove from women the power to decide the fundamental question of whether to carry or terminate a pregnancy. I don't know what it means to carry a pregnancy because that's the state of being pregnant. You carry a child, Representative
Yes.
Nadler. Let's be honest about this. So he claims that it would take that power away from women and instead would give that power to the state. Women must have the freedom to make decisions about their reproductive health, euphemism for abortion,
Mm-hmm.
and not only do they have to have that so-called right, he says, without anyone questioning their intellect, morals, or honesty. So just I want to be able I want to have the right to live however I want and nobody can question my character, essentially. Well, how on what grounds are you going to condemn the lunatic that went and shot a bunch of people based on his deranged beliefs? There's murder involved in both cases. So it's the hypocrisy. Um, the ranking member in the minority, the Republicans are in the minority, so they have what's called a ranking member, which is kind of the second in command of the committee. Representative Jim Jordan from Ohio had some excellent remarks. Unfortunately, we don't have the video available, but essentially he's saying the purpose of that committee meeting and the purpose of all of this debate about, and harassing and protesting against the Supreme Court justices and all of what we've seen, which, as we've discussed, is a violation of federal law. It's all about intimidation, that they want to have the right to do whatever they want, whenever they want. There's their ridiculous slogan, "My body, my choice," blah, blah, blah. Um, I also want to, in addition to commending Representative Jordan, Representative Mike Johnson, a Republican from Louisiana, had an excellent questioning of one of the witnesses, an abortion advocate, and he essentially asked her, "What's the difference between killing, a 10-year-old child, 5-year-old, 2-year-old, versus a child that's ready to be born a week before that, a month before that?" And he literally left her speechless. All she just kept parroting the same line, "I trust women to do what's right or make decisions about their own body." I
I mean,
have that clip.
it's like saying, "Oh, I trust the guy that shot in Buffalo to do what's right." Well, we don't actually trust people when they're going to kill people, right?
Right, exactly.
We don't say, "Well, that's okay. We trusted him to do what's right." And again, the hypocrisy here, the rank hypocrisy. So they're persecuting the people that walked into the Capitol on January 6th. But we have people breaking the law in front of justices' houses, which is against federal law. We have activists last week, radical abortion activists, calling for a summer of rage. We
Yep.
will, quote, be ungovernable.
Yes.
Homeland Security saying they're seeing threats to burn down the Supreme Court and murder justices. But, we don't hear about that
But they're
at
not
all.
domestic terrorists.
No,
They're
they're
just
not
peaceful
jurisdictional.
protesters.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I think the main point to finish up this story, to tie both of these things together, abortion is the quintessential form of domestic terrorism. The word domestic refers to the home and the family. It doesn't get any more domestic than your own children. And to borrow Joe Biden's words, abortion is, quote, a poison running through our body politic. It has been running through it for decades. It's a heinous crime that is inherently violent. And as Brian just described, it's a malicious vice which leads to further violence. When when someone is attached to a vice and you point that out to them, don't be surprised if they get violent. And that's exactly what we're seeing with all of these protests. And that's just the beginning. After, if Justice Alito's draft opinion becomes the court's opinion, there's going to be pandemonium. It's going to be frightening.